The film opens at a correctional facility, where Officer Green gets ready to hand over cash to a prominent prisoner known as Balam. Despite Balam being incarcerated, he benefits from a unique setup. He resides in an isolated unit complete with private security and high-end comforts. From this location, he manages his narcotics operations, human smuggling rings, and weapons enterprise. He opts to remain imprisoned as it provides the most secure environment for him, safe from the grasp of his adversaries. In the following sequence, fresh inmates are escorted in and housed within the identical facility as Balam. Among this group is Jack, an ex-officer facing charges of murdering a fellow policeman and committing bank robbery. Prior to Jack reaching his designated cell, Officer Green intercepts him. "Jack Stone, you're responsible for many of these guys being in here, aren't you?" He strikes him several times and reprimands him for murdering a colleague, cautioning that his survival in prison will be short-lived, especially with guards like them. The narrative shifts to 1 week prior. Jack and a few associates orchestrated a bank heist as a strategic move to collect proof against the corrupt individuals directing criminal activities from the prison. "Everybody get down!" After retrieving the proof from the bank's deposit boxes, they attempted to flee, but different officers thwarted their exit. Amid the ensuing gunfight, Jack's crew was eliminated, leaving him as the sole survivor to get away. He sprinted into a nearby structure as law enforcement pursued him closely. As a particular officer faced him and issued warnings, Jack identified this policeman as participating in the murder of his wife. "I put my faith in you, Check." "She's gone because of what you did. I didn't have a choice, Jack." "I had a family, you son of." He leaped from the building, taking the officer with him, causing the officer's immediate death on impact, yet miraculously managing to endure the fall himself. Jack subsequently deposited the evidence at the residence of a journalist named Trisha and relayed intelligence to her regarding the corruption implicating public figures in Balam. He requested that she deliver this information directly to the district attorney's headquarters. Returning to the current timeline, Jack is presently occupying a cell alongside a fellow prisoner, Silva. Afterward, at mealtime, if anyone requires safeguarding in this facility, Balam's relative Semyon comes up to Jack, insisting on payment for protection. Jack denies the request. "My name is Semyon," and as Semyon and his crew assault him, Jack defends himself, resulting in Semyon being apprehended by security and placed in isolation. In the subsequent sequence, Jack is moved to a high-security unit where he interacts with Balam via the surveillance camera system. Balam cautions Jack to keep away from his affairs, stating that failure to do so will result in him meeting the same fate as his wife. "I guarantee you will perish just like your wife." However, Jack remains unfazed by the menacing words. Later that evening, 3 individuals working for Balam invade Jack's cell to assault him, yet Jack successfully neutralizes them, all while his cellmate Silva remains asleep. Concurrently, Trisha is examining the proof Jack provided and discovers his true background. The following day, having uncovered additional information, Trisha travels to the district attorney's main office for a meeting. The front desk attendant informs her the attorney is occupied and recommends she entrust the evidence to his aide, Mark. However, Trisha feels uneasy about Mark, prompting her decision to depart rather than surrendering the proof. Just set up a new time later. Trisha stays waiting near the office building until the attorney eventually emerges. She walks up to him and clarifies that she possesses proof connecting public servants and law enforcement to illegal operations. The attorney, Johnson, hands her his business card and instructs her to get in touch if she requires further assistance. "You have no reason to be concerned about Mark." Subsequently, Trisha meets with Jack at the prison, informing him that she is actively pursuing the leads he gave her. Jack counsels her to handle the information with caution before she departs from the visitation area. Following this, Jack is contacted by an older prisoner identified as William, who cautions him to be wary of Balam's associates following the incident with Semyon. Jack responds that he holds no fear of Balam or Semyon, and he proceeds to question William regarding the whereabouts of Balam's cell. William clarifies that Balam's cell location is confidential, concealed so effectively that the majority of the prison staff are unaware of it. In the following segment, we are shown a female correctional facility where a pair of women prisoners are engaged in combat. While they are grappling, the facility's guards appear and intervene to stop the altercation. Subsequent to the brawl, one of the female inmates, Elena, is transported to meet Balam with her head concealed. she is presented in front of him in a location where Simeon and additional inmates are gathered as well. Semyon and his crew are present, gathering extortion payments without Balam's authorization, whereas Alina is present due to her assault on one of Balam's preferred female inmates. "Do you desire to create an adversary in me?" Balam subsequently declares a $100,000 bounty for any individual who successfully gets rid of Jack. Immediately following this, inmates form groups and assault Jack during his conversation with William. However, Jack and William utilize their abilities and succeed in overpowering all the attackers. "Who are you, friend?" Concurrently, Balam receives a phone call from attorney Johnson, who alerts him that Trisha possesses incriminating evidence against him. Upon learning this, Balam instructs Johnson to neutralize Trisha and arranges for Jack to be assassinated before the day concludes. Afterward, as Jack is handling his laundry, a contingent of prison officers shows up, intending to collect Balam's bounty. They commence striking Jack with their batons, yet Jack retaliates and manages to vanquish them. Upon exiting the laundry facility, he is met by an additional faction of inmates. Prior to their assault, Jack attempts to appeal to their logic, explaining the bounty isn't worth the risk and will diminish significantly when divided. Is $1,000 worth a fractured skull, cracked ribs, or collapsed lungs? Acknowledging this point, the inmates rethink their plan and choose to disperse. In the meantime, Trisha goes to see her acquaintance Allison and reveals all the details concerning Balam, the proof she holds against him, and the officers collaborating with him. In the subsequent sequence, Elena goes up to Balam's preferred female inmate, Kat, offering an apology for the earlier incident. However, Kat shows no interest in the reconciliation and strikes Alina squarely in the face. Alina feigns unconsciousness, prompting the guards to transport her to the facility's physician. Once the doctor assesses her condition and departs, Elena frees herself from her restraints using a paperclip, purloins some rubbing alcohol and medication, and conceals them inside William's utility bucket. She subsequently creeps into a ventilation shaft, equipped with a tool, searching for the surveillance monitoring room. As she navigates the ductwork, she sketches a map and ultimately locates the desired room, assisted by William. "All right, Charmer, tell me, what is it you need?" She stealthily returns to the infirmary precisely at the needed moment. Simultaneously, Trisha meets with Jack and informs him that she has uncovered his actual history. She subsequently inquires why he murdered a fellow policeman. Jack clarifies that Balam's associates murdered his wife, and the officer he eliminated was a member of that same crew. In the following segment, Jack discovers that William is not an actual inmate, but rather an officer working undercover. Jack is stunned by this and questions William about the duration of his covert operation. William elaborates that it has been half a year, stating his primary objective is to unmask the dishonest inmates and public servants aligned with Balam. He additionally discloses that Elena is collaborating with him to retrieve evidence concealed within the facility. As William is conveying this information to Jack, other inmates abruptly assault them and a physical conflict erupts. Afterward, Jack is forcibly placed in isolation, blamed for initiating the confrontation. Meanwhile, William is summoned to meet Warden Blaine, because Blaine has previous disputes with Balam's crew. He cautions William to increase his payments if he wishes to continue his covert activities in the prison. Concurrently, Trisha attempts another meeting with the district attorney, but the receptionist informs her that Johnson is occupied in numerous conferences. Mark contacts Trisha once more, pressuring her to relinquish the proof she possesses. During this time, Balam's daughter arrives for a visit, so Balam is momentarily let out of his cell and escorted to the visitation area. Upon his departure, William observes this and gestures to Alina, signaling the commencement of their strategy. Adhering to William's directives, Alina simulates a fainting spell, and a guard transports her to the infirmary. As soon as they are inside, Alina and William assault the accompanying guard. Alina subsequently infiltrates the surveillance room, while William, now disguised as a corrections officer, proceeds toward the main control center. Monitoring the feeds, Elena observes Balam departing the visitation zone, BM and a guard escort leaving a visiting area. Precisely then, William remotely opens Jack's isolation cell, liberating him. Jack incapacitates a nearby guard and seizes his uniform. William and Alina subsequently inform Jack they will direct him to Balam's exclusive cell prior to his return. Shortly thereafter, Blaine and multiple guards recognize that an intruder has breached the surveillance room. While they attempt to force entry, Alina flees by navigating the ventilation shafts. Aware that the window is closing before Balam returns, William unlocks every prison cell door, instigating widespread mayhem across the facility. Inmates pour from their cells, assaulting the guards who had previously abused them. Amidst the disorder, Officer Green attempts to flee but is intercepted by Jack, who shoves him into a mob of angry inmates. Simultaneously, William and Alina defend themselves against assaults from different prisoners. When Jack approaches Balam, he is blocked by Semyon, and the two engage in a fierce struggle. Despite Semyon managing to wound Jack in the abdomen with a knife, Jack overcomes him and successfully gets to Balam's private quarters. We discover that Allison has conspired with District Attorney Johnson against Trisha, intending to murder her. Right before Allison fires her weapon, "I want everything." Mark intervenes, disclosing that he is actually an FBI operative. It is revealed Mark has been operating covertly as the prosecutors aid to uncover Johnson's illegal activities and the wrongdoing of other public officials. Returning to the prison, William successfully neutralizes Warden Blaine and several other officers. "Apologies, man. It's simply my duty." "Alright, okay. Jack at last confronts Balam and engages him in a direct personal combat. Balam manages to get the advantage, striking Jack to the ground. While Jack lies defeated, he recalls the memory of his wife's assassination by Balam and his crew, which fuels him with the power to rise again. Jack eventually overcomes Balam, finally getting vengeance for his wife's killing. Shortly thereafter, a specialized tactical unit enters and reestablishes control within the correctional facility. Once the pandemonium subsides, William formally presents Jack and Elena to one another. William proceeds to inform them that his superior is grateful for their assistance in dismantling Balam's illicit organization, which operated both within and beyond the prison walls. Jack expresses his gratitude to William and Alina for aiding him in achieving his retribution. Following these events, the FBI apprehends all the public servants and law enforcement agents who had collaborated with Balam. The film concludes with Jack being escorted into custody by William, who reassures him that his release will happen shortly. That wraps up this video. If you found it enjoyable, please remember to subscribe for additional content similar to this.